People, this week we've got Duane of Broadway Coffee Roasters.
Anything that I've proved throughout my life is that I didn't need academics to do what I did. It just took determination and drive. I just felt like I was on the wrong path, and I always said that I was going to open up my own coffee shop. But in short, I didn't know a lot about coffee when I got started off. Sometimes you just got to drop yourself in the deep end and just work hard, like your life depends on it. So I was out all hours of the day. At one point, it was like 7 days a week. Right up till Christmas. Even on Christmas Day, I was riding around on my treader all over Portsmouth, delivering coffee. We supply places like the Coastal Kitchen family, Tenfold, the Bryony, A-Bar, the Canteen, Hot Rules. We also supply Southsea Beach Cafe. There's so many now. We've got a very good support network. It's a massive market. It's a growing thing. Coffee's the second biggest commodity in the world.
Duane, welcome to the show, mate.
Cheers, mate.
I'm excited for this one. I really am. Yeah.
I don't know what to expect.
I know. I mean, yeah, you're the first coffee shop owner and obviously school that I've defo interviewed. I think ever, for that matter, as well. Cool. So I'm quite excited for this.
Nice.
Right? All right. So, little tradition I've got on the show is instead of me giving you an introduction, I like to just give it straight over to you. So, in a nutshell, who is Duane?
Who is Duane, or who is Broadway? Who is Duane? I was born and bred in Portsmouth. I grew up in Lee Park up until about the age of 16. From there onwards, I moved in and around the city with work. I was a welder fabricator up until the age of 32. Long story short, I joined the military when I was 26. I was in for a few years. Learned a lot there, came out, and then settled back into Portsmouth lifestyle again, started working again as a welder fabricator. And then from there I travelled most of Europe, places like Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, Holland, lived in various different places with work. Literally lived in the back of my van, went from job to job, so had some really good experiences there. And then came back to Portsmouth again, settled down and set up my own welding and fabrication business and started designing and building and refurbishing cafes, restaurants, all that sort of stuff when there was a big sort of like industrial style revolution going on. So did quite well there. Then I opened up my own fabrication premises in Highland Road, which is where the coffee shop resides now. So I think it was about 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, it was my welding and fabrication business for 5 years prior to that, and everything was going really well. I did a lot of work in the town, in the city, in the dockyard, various different places, and long story short, somebody broke into my premises and they nicked all my machinery, they nicked all my tools, and I lost all my work, and that was a big moment, and so I had to like lick my wounds and get back into work again. I went back into the dockyard, started working again and started saving up my money, and then we had COVID 2020, got locked down, and I just felt at that point like I was on the wrong path. Something was telling me I was on the wrong path, and I always said that I was going to open up my own coffee shop at some point. So I took a business bounce back loan off the bank when they were offering them, and never looked back. I just made the decision to start up a coffee roasting business. I assessed the market a little bit, and I realised that there was not one coffee roasting business in Portsmouth. So I felt that there was a gap there, so I went for it. Me and my business partner at the time, we bought out a company in Scotland who had a coffee roaster and various different bits of equipment. We drove up there, bought it all up, came back with it, and set up Broadway Coffee Roasters. And then we pretty much roasted coffee, and we sold it on Facebook Marketplace, just as an excuse to get out, because at this point you weren't allowed out. So it was how I was, any excuse to get out on my bike, on my push bike, to go and deliver coffee. So I was out all hours of the day. At one point, it was like 7 days a week, right up till Christmas. Even on Christmas Day, I was riding around on my treader all over Portsmouth, delivering coffee. And then it was at that point where I needed help. or an investment or something. So I reached out to a friend, Toby Woodfine, who's still a very good friend of mine today, and he became my business partner, and funded the business and got it to pretty much where it is today. Really, without him, we wouldn't be who we are. So that was massive for us. A couple of years down the line from there, we parted ways, bought him out of the business, and then here we are today. We've grown since then. We've got another premises in Hilsey where we roast on a big scale. We supply places like the Coastal Kitchen family, Tenth Hole, the Bryony, A-Bar, and the Canteen, Hot Wheels. We also supply the Southsea Beach Cafe, various different places in the Royal Navy as well, and Marmion House. There's so many now. We've got a very good support network, to the point where we've developed this place, which is our academy, where I can kind of stay on top of the quality control for our coffees that go out to our customers. So it helps me help them serve better coffee to the community, really. And that's pretty much where we're at now.
Interesting. All right, so there's loads to unpick there. So
yeah.
So cool. Taking us back then. So how did you find school then? How did you find school?
School, challenging. Yeah. Challenging, and not academically challenging. I found it challenging to behave myself, let's say. Yeah. I was a bit of a class clown, I'd say. I enjoyed art, I enjoyed PE and things like that. But yeah, school was my opportunity to mess around. I didn't really get to mess around at home as such. Life was a bit more serious for me at home. So yeah, that was my opportunity to be a kid, I'd say.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. So mid-20s then, military. What drew you to that then?
I always wanted to be, even when I was young, I mean, I just wanted to be around like-minded people. It wasn't so much about Queen and country, it was more about pushing myself and just meeting like-minded people, really, and just trying to find just to see what I was capable of, fitness-wise, really. Just always aspired to be in the military one way or another, really. I met some great people in there, and I got out of it what I needed. Ultimately, I just needed to just become a man. I just needed to be taught some lessons, I was going through life partying and, doing this, that and the other, getting into trouble here and there. And I just knew I weren't on the right path, and it really did set me up to be the person I am today. I've still got a lot to learn, but it definitely gave me discipline and it definitely gave me drive. That's definitely what's brought me to where I am now. Yeah.
So what regiment did you join? Or
it was the Royal Air Force Regiment.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, where was you stationed? I'm interested because I was going to join the RAF when I was a kid.
Yeah, RAF Hollington, so they'll all start at RAF Houghton or RAF Hollington, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I was in the Air Cadets. So
was you? Yeah. Spacey. Brilliant.
Okay, so joined the RAF. Did you do any tours?
No. I just, it was a bit unfortunate for me. I got through training basics, but I got injured right at the end, right before my passing out parade, which is really gutting. Because you can imagine going through an entire training regime with your friends and getting battle ready. We was going to go to Afghanistan for Herrick 12, but yeah, it didn't happen for me. Unfortunately, we was right at the end of our training, and I was marching at the back of a formation of 3 ranks of 10. And I used to love carrying weight. It was just my thing. So I had my Bergen, my webbing, 2 LMGs, light machine guns, and a bag of boots. There was a spare pair of boots for everyone. So I was pretty much carrying about 100 kilos on me. And I always remember it. But I was marching at the back of this formation of 3. It was pitch black, and I stepped into this pothole, and my ankle just went from underneath me, and it dislocated it, tore the ligaments in it, and that was it. After that, I pretty much, I had to get recourse and put into a rehabilitation flight, and all my friends went to Afghanistan without me. It broke my heart, to be honest. It really did. It broke my heart, and I left. I PVR'd after that. It took me a couple of months to get out, which wasn't long enough. The things that you do in there and what they teach you and the lifestyle, to go from that to all of a sudden just be in Civvy Street back to normal life. There should have been a bigger debrief than that, I think, and but it took me a little while to lick my wounds and get myself back to normal again, but I got there eventually, but I did struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what support do they give you when you come out?
As far as I'm aware, not enough. Not enough.
Really?
There never has been, especially for veterans that have actually gone out and done these tours. You know, you've got to help the heroes and all these bits and bobs, but you know, there are still people out there today who are either out on the streets or, you know, not getting the help that they deserve. You know, it's a real shame.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Yeah.
So cool. You came out, and then you said you started welding.
Mm.
Okay, amazing. So.
Well, I got back into welding. It'd always been my safety net, really.
Nice. Yeah, I live with a welder. I get that.
Characters.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you get back into welding, and so how many years did you do that then before you had that moment? I mean, you said up until.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I started, I was 17 years old. And I didn't have a job at the time, and you know, my mum was on me to get a job in the morning. Do you know what I mean? If I didn't get out of bed, it'd be a bucket of water over my head and be like, get out, get to the job centre, get yourself a job right now, you know? So she'd always push me to try and get a job. And there weren't much in the way of apprenticeships. I didn't really have the academics to get me into certain schemes. So I'd always go down the job centre, etc. Never had much luck. And then I stumbled across this, I just go from factory to factory and just walk in and ask for a job. And there was this place called Artec Engineering in Emsworth, and there was a guy called Pete Bedford who taught me. So long story short, I went in there, asked for a job, and they gave me a job as a labourer. And I was there for a good couple of months maybe, before I started taking the initiative to start practicing welding in my lunch breaks. They let me do it, they let me have a little go. But I dedicated all my lunch breaks for months really to get my skills up and learn how to weld, to the point where I went into my boss's office and I went, there you go, and he was like, you didn't do that. I was like, I did. He's like, do it again. I was like, okay. So I went in and done this weld piece again for him. He went, right, okay, come back in the office. And he offered me a pay rise, offered me a job as a welder, and then moved on from there really. So that's how it all started. I stayed there for a couple of years and then moved on to the next place. I just told them what experience I had, and then learnt more, and then stayed there for about a year, and then moved on to the next place. So I had short stints at various different places across Portsmouth throughout my teens and my 20s. Ultimately, I got quite a lot of experience from doing that, and that led me to work at a place called PAL Europe in Farlington. And they do like filtration vessels for like nuclear, biological, like nuclear, petrochemical, pharmaceutical sort of like industries. Real decent discipline work, you know, to the point where you had to almost sign your life away to the piece of work that you did, because if you were negligent, then it can come back onto you, you know. It's a real good work, really. And then I went on to work for Eastern Aerospace after that, making aircraft parts for Boeing and things like that, really. Yeah, so it was really good. Yeah, it led me on to really good things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, so a question I have for you then. So obviously you became a welder, went into the military, you came out, went back to welding, now you do coffee. All of that, the overarching thing is having a trade. So how important is having a trade to you?
It's more than having a trade. It's having determination. Determination, it trumps everything. Yeah. If anything that I've proved throughout my life is that I didn't need academics to do what I did. It just took determination and drive to just carry on and just do what I needed to do. That means more than anything, really. But ultimately, you do need to have these sort of these trades under your belt in order to earn money. But you don't necessarily need academics to get there. You just need to find a way, just build a door, and and push it through. Yeah.
Just on that, then, how important? You said you didn't need academics. How important is academics then?
I'd say they are important. They are important. I can't say they're not important because I wasn't good at it. In all honesty, it wasn't because I wasn't good at it. I just feel like I wasn't being taught in the correct way. Everybody's different. Everybody's on their own spectrum, and we're not all the same. And I think the way they teach you in schools these days, or in some schools these days, you have to fit under one curriculum, and we're all so different. I actually learned that when I went into the Royal Air Force, I learned that I was dyslexic, and I had to be taught a certain way in order to be able to read and write properly. I couldn't really I could read. My writing weren't brilliant. I hated writing. I found it really frustrating, especially numbers. I still find numbers difficult now. But I came out of there actually, I really love reading and writing. I love writing emails, or I love being articulate and going over it. And they really pulled that out of me. But that was fundamental, because to get on to pass out with the flight that I was on, I had to have the key skills in English and maths to be able to get through. So we went off and did the classwork, and then they worked on me. And I had these problems. I was like, I can't really write properly. I'm not too clever. And they were like, you are clever. You just haven't been taught the right way. And they would give me this blue filter to put over a piece of paper, and then start reading and writing from there, which oddly helped. And various other different things. They really did help bring that out of me. So I'd say academics are really important. They serve me on a day-to-day basis. I'm always writing emails and having dialogue with customers, just on a day-to-day basis with everything, really. So it is really important. Yeah.
Interesting that. Well, no, big up for getting so far with dyslexia, because old man used to have dyslexia. No, it's not with us anymore, but he used to have dyslexia, or he used to be dyslexic, and I fully hear it. I've grown up with someone, and yeah, big up. Thanks. So, okay then. So you go back into welding, and then you said lockdown kind of happened. But I remember you said that you reached a point where you was like, you know what, this ain't for me, really. Talk us through that then.
I mean, it wasn't for me. I mean, honestly, I put my heart and soul into that business. I put my heart and soul into everything that I do. I really do. So it was a massive setback. What I was doing, I really loved. But I just felt like time after time, I was just meeting this brick wall, and I just felt like something had to change. And it was no longer resonating with me. I just thought, I'm trying my hardest at this, but I'm not getting what I want out of it. And at that point, I just felt like I just needed to adapt or do something else in order to reignite that spark. I didn't want to be bitter and twisted about what I was doing. I didn't want to have that inside my heart. I had a list of things that I wanted to do, and I wrote them all down, and then went out there and studied and saw how I could implement that into the local community, and the coffee roasting thing came out the top.
Local community, how important is the community to you?
100%. It's really important. Yeah. It's important for all of us. Yeah, 100%. It's especially South. I've never known anywhere like South. I've lived all over the place, and the community here is very supportive, and it's the foundation of everything, really. I think it's very important. It's important to have good neighbours, and it's nice to live somewhere that's just nice to be in. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know how I can put it into words, but fundamentally, I think that having good neighbours and having a good community, it gives you. I don't know. I'm proud. I'm proud of it. I'm really proud of it, and I'm happy to meet and greet people on a day-to-day basis. And luckily, we get to do that every day at the coffee shop. It's like having a massive extended family. That's it. It's like having a huge, great big family, and it's just so pleasant. I've never known a place like it. Really, Southsea's very special.
Yeah. It is really supportive. So you used to do fit-ins for coffee shops and stuff like that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you said you wanted to start your own coffee shop. Why?
Mainly because it was the journey. I mean, there's various different places that I got involved with, namely Dan from Southsea Deli and Enver from Farm Kitchen. They got me involved in their very first builds for their premises, and being with them from beginning to end, watching them go through what they're going through, and letting them, giving me their trust to kind of build what they wanted, was a great thing to be involved in. But watching them go through the whole journey from very beginning to up to now, you walk in there, you think, wow, like, you guys, you've done so well. And I always said to myself, I'm going to do this one day, because I'll do these designs and things for people, and it's what they want. I'm like, oh, I'd love. If I had something, I would do this or that. This is exactly, and I'd draw it out on a piece of paper, like so many different times, like how I would love my own cafe. Just like a vision board of different things of how I would have mine. So I'd always visualised it, but like, this is how I'd have mine, you know. So that was mainly it, really. Just watching their journey and kind of it inspired me. Yeah, I liked it.
Would you say you have to have a love of coffee to actually start a coffee shop, or?
I didn't. Admittedly, when I first started, I didn't know a fraction of how much I know about coffee now. I didn't. I just knew that there was a big gap in the market. And then I applied myself and I studied and I worked hard. The way I saw it, there's no difference out there between me and any other person out there. The only difference is the time and effort spent on certain things. And I just spent a lot of time and effort, and I just devoted myself to it, really. And so in short, I didn't know a lot about coffee when I got started off. No.
You wouldn't think that now. I'll tell you that.
No, you wouldn't. But sometimes you just got to drop yourself in the deep end and just work hard, like your life depends on it. Yeah.
Strong. So, how long did it take you to learn how to make coffee then?
Learn how to make coffee?
Like,
not long.
Skill and how you're making it now.
I mean, to be honest, it took me a good while. I mean, some of the people that we employed when we first started up, I mean, they were phenomenal. We had a lady called Duane who was from New Zealand, and I mean, arguably places like New Zealand and Australia, I mean, they really lead the way with coffee. So she came in and she's one of the first people that we employed, and she really set the standard here, and she taught me and taught others, and I learned pretty quickly. But to pick up the skills that they've acquired, it's taken them years, and that's pretty much what's led us to where we are now. Everything that I've learned, I'm trying to transfer to people within, a day or a couple of days or a few weeks or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Get it. So, what are some of the struggles or some of the challenges running a coffee shop?
The biggest struggle for any coffee shop is consistency. Consistency with staff, and delivering a consistency of good quality product. Really, that's your biggest. They're your biggest variables, really, and that's the sort of things that we try to take control of, really, and help other businesses take control of. But I'd say staff is a big thing. Finding people with relevant skill, especially companies like myself and a few other coffee shops that our USP is coffee. Having people that have those desirable skills is not easy to come by, really.
Do you get a lot of people who claim that they can make coffee but can't?
I think everybody that has ever come into our establishment and has claimed to be able to make coffee has been able to make coffee. There's always been room for improvement, always, with everyone. I think it doesn't matter who comes into our establishment, they all need retraining to some point, because we do things a little bit differently, just like every other coffee shop does things differently. They come in and they'll just come and learn the ways of the business, really. Yeah, everybody has their own way of doing things.
So, coffee roasting, what is it?
Coffee roasting. So, I'll say coffee roasting. So, coffee starts off as a cherry. Okay, so you actually got like a little green sort of like nut inside a cherry. That's how. Did you know that? No. So that's actually how it's cultivated. It's inside a cherry. It's then pulped. It's then dried. Various different processes that can dry them. A lot of them are, so you can get like a naturally sort of dried coffee, which is just left out on the beds for the sunlight to dry them out. And then once they're down to a certain moisture content below like 11-12%, they'll then get sent out to places like ours, and then we'll roast them. So that's pretty much it, really. So they'll start off as green coffee beans, and then we'll roast them to they're absolutely perfect.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So,
in short, I mean, it's very in depth. I mean, we've got courses that last a couple of hours just talking about what is coffee roasting. It's very in depth.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, when you source these cherries / beans, do you care about fair trade, or is it
100%? Yeah. There's complete traceability in everything that we do, right the way from the farmers all the way to how it gets here as well. So, yeah, everything is well above fair trade, and is ethically sourced. It's very important.
Why is that important to you, by the way?
Because there's a lot of exploitation happening within this sort of trade, and still is to today. It's a big problem. So having that traceability and knowing where your product's actually coming from and where the money's actually going is it's a really important message for us to relay to our customers. So yeah.
And do you source it in the UK or abroad?
We use various different companies who act as like a stockholder, and they have direct relations with the farms and washing stations across the equator. And we all can converse and talk on a portal. I'm in direct touch with all the farmers that we get our coffees from, which is really cool. Yeah, we get so much information from them. What's coming, what's to come, current affairs, and all that sort of stuff as well. There's always a lot going on.
Interesting. Okay, so cool. Where we're sat right now, then, this is the new school, if you will, for people to get more skilled in coffee making and become skilled, really. So, what made you make that move?
The biggest reason is trying to solve a problem, and the biggest problem is is consistency. So the biggest problem I had as a coffee roaster when I'm supplying people is sometimes I'll get a call and say, Duane, there's something wrong with your coffee, and I'm like, God, so I'll go down there really quick and try and find out what's wrong. And 9 times out of 10 it'll be the customer hasn't dialed into their machine properly, or something hasn't been done properly, sort of thing. So inevitably the biggest problem was that their staff didn't have or haven't had the relevant training in order to be able to facilitate or to be able to provide consistency throughout the day. So that's what drove this. I needed to not only supply people with decent quality beans, but actually supply them with decent quality training in order to provide consistency, ultimately bringing them return customers and generating them more revenue. So that was the biggest problem, and by doing this, it's really helped me keep a handle on that. And the businesses themselves are really interested in coming in and learning more and staying on top of their quality control. And it's all a part of the package, really. So when you sign up to one of our subscription deals with our wholesale coffee, we have a training package that comes with it, because it's in my best interest. I want their customers to have a good experience. I mean, who doesn't want to have a good coffee experience, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but a rubbish coffee would
No.
change your life, yeah.
It's not good.
It's not. So, you're saying that other coffee makers, other coffee shops are the target audience, really. But, who's your target audience with this thing, with this new...
Absolutely everybody, really. It could be, the Joe Blogs at home who just wants to improve their coffee game, right away to any one of my wholesale customers who just wants to improve their staff and efficiency. Right away to, I'd like to be able to get in front of the youth, young offenders, the disadvantaged, and give them the courage and the skills and the ability and the confidence to really kind of push forward with their lives, really. It's a massive market. It's a growing thing. I mean, coffee's the second biggest commodity in the world underneath oil. I don't know if you knew that, but above gold. Yeah, it's growing all the time. We've got coffee shops everywhere, and we all need decent staff, and there's a massive gap in the market there for it, really. So that's one of my biggest pushes at the moment. That's what I'm looking for. I'd like to get in front of people, namely the youth and the disadvantaged, to just inspire and help, really.
So cool. You're a real go-getter. You've done all of this. You've got a team. You've got teams around the city. Do you plan?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How important is planning to you?
Planning's very important. I'm learning this more and more as time goes by. I think when I first started off in business, I was very intuitive. I still am now. But I was very intuitive, and I would do things on a whim, and I'd do things from the heart. And I still do now, but planning is very important, especially when it comes to meetings or anything in general. If you really want to execute something and you want it to have an impact, then the more time that you can spend on it, the better. That being said, I mean, if I was to write down a speech and try and get up in front of a load of people to read it out, it won't happen. I've done it before. It's like looking at hieroglyphics for me. So speaking from the heart is my biggest thing. I mean, I'm sat in front of you now, I haven't prepared anything, have I? But I find that for me, that's the best way for me to communicate, just to be genuine and be myself. But when it comes to executing a plan of action, a business plan or anything like that, then yeah, you've got to get those facts, figures and numbers down.
Get it. How far do you plan ahead then? Is it just a couple of weeks, a year, 10 years?
I've got plans that last from my daily right the way up into the next 5 years. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So it's just business projections and even personal projections and stuff really. That's really helped me visualise where I want to be and what I want to achieve, and it helps me set goals and and stay on top of things really. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we currently are today. So what's next for you?
What's next for me? I feel like I've scaled this business up as far as as I'd like to. We have the capacity to grow about 500% is what I've projected, just on the coffee roasting side of things alone. I don't plan to open any more cafes. I'd like to utilise this training facility as much as possible and give back to the community. That's going to take up a lot more time. I very much want to be a part of that. I don't ever want to be that business owner that just sets things up and sits and watches the plate spin. I very much want to be involved in it, but I still need my time too. So I'm pretty much where I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy to roll this out for the next 5 years and see where that takes me, sort of thing, really. But I'd say I live a very fulfilled life. I'm happy. I just want to enjoy it for its entirety, really. Yeah, there's nothing I don't want for anything else.
Nice. Just on that, then, I was going to end there, but just on that, how is it for you spinning many plates to run a business?
It's all about the team. It's not just me. I'm just one part. We have various people working. Every person in the business. It's a massive team effort. So managerially, it's that's the challenge. So it's just managerial sort of challenges really. But it's just all about the team. I'm very fortunate. We've got a great team, and they all do really well. We communicate well, and that's what it all comes down to at the end. And if there's something that I need that to happen, it happens. I just say the word and it's done, and it's done in a timely and an efficient manner really. But it's taken up until now to get there. It's 5 years of hard work and processing and procedures and everything that for everyone that's worked with us for the past 5 years are a massive part of who we are today, because they're all the ones that have put in the hard work, and everything's set in place. So everything has its place, everything's signed off. So it's almost like faultless now, really. So it's a lot easier than what it was, say, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, it was crazy because you're trying to create something which has come from the heart, which is quite an emotional thing, and then trying to portray that to people who are working for you is actually it can be quite tricky. So I've learned a lot about myself personally and how I come across as a business owner, as a person, as an individual, and I've learned to be a lot more compassionate, a lot more trusting, and a lot more forgiving. And that's a massive part of spinning the plates here, is relinquishing the control and letting people do the job for you, because inevitably they might do it differently, but they might do it better. And that's what I've learned, is that a lot of people that work for us do a better job than me. I'll fully hand that over to them.
That's good, isn't it? Yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
Well, no, amazing. Well, yeah, Duane, we'll put a pin in it there then.
Cool.
It's been amazing, man.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks
you
for sharing. And I look forward to seeing what happens next.
Nice one. Thanks very much.
On with part 2. Paul, Duane, welcome to part 2. This is where we go out into the street, went out into the streets of Portsmouth, and we asked one question. And yeah, we're going to get your reaction. So let's just jump straight in, eh?
Oh, God. Okay.
No. That'd be a coincidence. Oh, cool, man. What age do you think should be allowed to drink coffee?
6.
6, fair enough. What age do you think you should be allowed to start drinking coffee?
Coffee? Oh, I don't know, maybe like 14?
Really? Why not younger?
Because it's probably not that good for you.
At what age do you think you should be allowed to drink coffee?
Like 16.
Why not younger?
Because I don't think children that young need caffeine.
Interesting.
I guess when you're like stressed when you do GCSEs and stuff.
When you actually need energy,
Yeah.
you're lacking sleep. Yeah.
Okay. What age do you think you should be allowed to drink coffee?
Drink coffee? Oh. 14?
Why not younger?
I suppose maybe the effects of caffeine on a young body. Maybe a child not maybe understanding the effects of it, having a coffee late and then not being able to sleep and then causing issues, maybe due to lack of sleep, etc.
What age should you be allowed to drink coffee?
Coffee. Do you drink coffee?
No, 18.
18, why?
I think 18 is a decent age in which like all your teeth are fully developed at that point, except maybe your
Like your wisdom thing.
your wisdoms. I think because so many people are addicts at like 16, 17 years old with the power drinks like the Monsters etc. I know they've changed that now to 25, which is great. And also caffeine addiction is real, and should at least be 18, old enough to you should be having enough sleep. You should have enough sleep before you start drinking it. Do you get what I mean?
No, I get what you mean.
You're
And
young. There's no there's no reason to be drinking coffee at like 12 or 13. You're too young.
not
So
even a
make
cheat.
it 18 when you're older, when you have a real reason. Now you're in uni and you're not coping. So now you drink coffee type of thing, but not 16, not 17. I think, I don't know.
Hot take. Thank you very much. And what about yourself?
Yeah, I don't really drink coffee like that. It doesn't really taste that nice. It doesn't really keep me up. So I'll back her message. Seems like she's done the research.
All right, cool. So, that was the question.
It's a good question, isn't it? I mean, I never get anybody younger than 16 coming in for a coffee. That being said, you see a lot of the youth today drinking caffeine drinks. But my biggest answer to that is decaf. And you could have a cup of our decaf and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and a normal caffeinated coffee. And you know, coffee, specialty coffee especially, there are a lot of nutritional benefits to it as well. They're very high in antioxidants and polyphenols. But yeah, caffeine does have a detrimental effect on the body, especially when it's abused. But yeah, decaf all the way. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So what age do you think is reasonable to start drinking coffee for young people?
I mean, if it's any age really, if it's decaffeinated, really. No, I'm not recommending that. I'm just giving my opinion. But absolutely, I think you need to be really. I'd say, what is the restriction on an energy drink? Aren't there age restrictions on energy drinks now?
I don't know if there's age restrictions. I know there's a restriction on the amount of sugar.
I'm pretty sure that you do get ID'd for energy drinks now. I'm pretty sure you do, like Red Bull and Monster. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can't just be like 14 years old and. Pretty sure you have to be 16 or 18. I'm pretty sure you do.
It's unbelievable.
I'm not sure if that's law or not. But I'd say at least 16, really. 16 to 18 maybe. Yeah.
They said there that caffeine addiction is real. What's your thoughts on that?
Caffeine addiction, yeah. I mean, it's a stimulant, isn't it? And people do get addicted to it. Am I addicted to it? I've been drinking coffee solid now for the past 5 years. What was the question again? Sorry.
So, like caffeine addiction.
Is it real?
Is it real?
I suppose so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a week off of coffee for the past 5 years. Let's say that. Maybe I'll give it a go after this and let you know how I get on.
Are you one of those? I am. When I wake up, the first thing I have after I've woken up is a coffee.
Yeah. What, straight away?
Not straight away, but would you not recommend straight away?
I normally I wake up I'll brush my teeth, big glass of water, get moving, make a coffee, and I'll after about an hour and a half to 2 hours after I've woken up is when I'll have a coffee.
Really?
Yeah, and then throughout the day, 1 or 2 more, and that's it. Any more than that, and I'm frazzled. I've drunk so much coffee before, especially when we first started up, and I was roasting coffee throughout the day, and I was testing the product and drinking espressos throughout the day. And I remember, I mean, starting off business is hard, man. It's not easy. And I remember being at my mum's house, and I had been roasting all day, and I'd been drinking coffee all day, and I was stood there and I was shaking like this. And she had a blood pressure monitor thing that I put on my arm, and it read 186/86. And I googled it, and it just said, imminent heart attack. Like, get yourself to the doctors. And I was like, Jesus. And I weren't in a good way, but I wasn't just drinking it. I was right in front of the machine, this smoking machine, breathing it in all day as well. Do you know what I mean? So it does have a massive negative effect on the body.
It does over time, mate.
Yeah,
it does.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you one of those that can't drink a coffee past a certain time in a day?
I find coffee kind of levels me out a little bit. I don't know if it's a sort of ADHD trait in me or something like that, but I find it kind of calms me down. Now, I won't drink a cup of coffee before bed, but that being said, if I did, I'd probably still be able to sleep.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I don't understand when people say that.
I think it just has a different effect on some people.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on the question?
Not really, apart from the chap at the very end who said he didn't like coffee. I was a bit upset by that. Do you know the guy's name? Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Well, if you're watching this video, come back to Broadway Coffee Roasters and I'll change your mind. That's my only thoughts on that.
No, I love it. Well, Duane, that brings us to a lovely close on that.
Okay.
And any final words?
Any final words? No, I don't think I have. No.
Well, no, it's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed today. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Nice one. Thank you very much.
Happy
Cheers,
days.
bud.